What if events went differently? What if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU? Hey guys, it's Ral here. So I'm gonna be playing some Left 4 Dead. Right there, right, no, right, right there. But I'm gonna be explaining my what if at the same time. So hope you guys enjoy this video. So as you guys know, Tobey Maguire existed way before, Robert Downey Jr., before Edward Norton's Hulk. And Tobey Maguire actually made a lot of money. And so, Tobey Maguire, if you were to include Tobey Maguire in the MCU, I think he would, he would have been the main role, So, Spider-Man 2002 would have kicked off the MCU. And, because there weren't that many heroes, during Phase 1, there was only a couple, there was only Hulk, Iron Man, and whatnot. Yeah, and, you basically have it, at that. And, I think if you were to have Tobey Maguire in the MCU, he would team up with, Iron Man, to fight Vulture, kind of like in Homecoming, but it would be John Malkovich's Vulture, and you would basically have all the Sam Raimi villains, in the MCU, and I think you would have it at that, where
Hey, look at this here.
because ever since Tobey Maguire disappeared from Hollywood, he hasn't been, it hasn't been, that, because they're planning a live-action Spider-Verse film right now, and they really want all three Spider-Men to return. Tom Holland really wants it, Tobey Maguire wants to return, and Andrew Garfield is in talks to return for a live-action Spider-Verse film, so I think you would have it at that. And if you were to include Tobey Maguire in the MCU, I already said that, but, you'd basically have... Tobey Maguire's, basically, it wouldn't be Tom Holland Spider-Man, it would be Tobey Maguire. And, that deep fake video of Tobey Maguire in Far From Home in Aldo Jones? That basically what it would be, but instead of, Tom Holland, it's Tobey Maguire. And I think if Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was in the MCU, we would have, like a full-on Spider-Man trilogy, And, we would continue stories, such as Spider-Man 4 and whatnot. And, and, possibly even 5, 6 Spider-Man. Because there were plans for a 5th and 6th film. Well, unfortunately, Spider-Man 4 got canceled, and, no one knows whatever became of it. And, it really sucks that, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man really had to get canceled, because a lot of people thought, Spider-Man 4 was rushed. I mean, you could have just delayed it, right? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think you would just have it at that. I think there's really nothing else. But of course, instead of Tom Holland, you got Tobey Maguire, there, and you basically have it at that. You would continue, the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy. And yeah, that's basically all it would be. But, and I think you would have to, and if they wanted to continue the Spider-Man trilogy, Spider-Man 3 would have had to been good. And throughout the MCU, if Tobey Maguire was in it, you would continue, you would have villains such as the Sinister Six. And, that's basically at that, and you basically would have, a different type of approach in the MCU. So the MCU would have looked, and if Tom Holland really wasn't cast for Spider-Man, the MCU would have looked really different compared to nowadays. Because the MCU nowadays is actually really good now ever since that Spider-Man is in the MCU, because literally, I can't imagine the MCU without Spider-Man, the MCU without Spider-Man, you just can't have that, And just last year, Spider-Man almost got pulled from the MCU due to the Marvel and Sony deal, but thankfully in October, because they've been Spider-Man's been out of the MCU ever since August, and that October of 2019, Spider-Man was able to get reclined, and they made a deal, and Tom Holland stayed in the MCU and whatnot. And the third Spider-Man movie is set to hit theaters in July of 2021. And you would be, and if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, people would kind of be like confused. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say confused. People would be amazed by this. I think if they were to take a different approach of Spider-Man, having Tobey Maguire return, I think having Tobey Maguire return would actually be really good and whatnot. Andrew Garfield wouldn't exist. Tom Holland wouldn't exist. Venom wouldn't exist. So if I think Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, a different approach would have been taken. And, I think you would have it at that. I think that's literally all there is to it. Because if I'm looking to direct a Spider-Man film, I want it to have it, where it's really good, because I don't want people to not like me anymore, And, because if I were to ever direct a Spider-Man film, I want my Spider-Man film to be, really good. So I would have to have, and if I were to direct Spider-Man 4, I would have Tobey Maguire, there, right? And, just Tobey Maguire's there, and Jim Carrey would be Carnage and whatnot. And yeah, I think you would have it at that. You would introduce, not much popular Spider-Man villains over the years. If Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, you would continue that trilogy. You would have the Lizard in Spider-Man 4, John Malkovich as the Vulture. Hey, maybe even Topher Grace as Venom. But, of course, you would have to have Venom be very, not like the reptilian-type smile that we're used to and whatnot. And, yeah, I think the MCU would have taken, a very different approach if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, And if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, I think the MCU would have looked perfect. But, guys, I'm going to be honest, I freaking love Tom Holland. And I think if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU, there would unfortunately, be no live-action Spider-Verse. Well, I think you could have a live-action Spider-Verse. It just wouldn't have that many Spider people. So, I think that's why I think I prefer Spider-Man 4 not to happen. Well, I mean, I wish Spider-Man 4 would have happened and then say, like, the trilogy could have failed right then and there. Not in the MCU. And, yeah. And then you would have a live-action Spider-Verse, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. And even if Tobey Maguire wasn't in the MCU or not and they continued the trilogy, I think all of those films would have still happened, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, Venom, Spider-Man PS4. All of that, would have still happened. But, yeah, I think that's my opinion on what if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU. So, let me guys know what you think about this what if in the comment section below. What if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU. And I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, comment down below on what other Spider-Man what ifs you want me to do. And if you already subscribed, then share this video with a friend. And if you subscribe, turn on the post bell and also follow me on Instagram. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this what if. This what if was not easy to make. I thought about it for a while, what if Tobey Maguire was in the MCU? So basically, instead of Tom Holland, it would basically be Tobey Maguire at that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for 370 subscribers. I would not have made it this far without you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, turn on that post bell if you already subscribed. And if you already subscribed, share this video with a friend. And anyway, guys, see ya. Peace.